Hey guys, and welcome back to the Path to Exile Podcast, episode 29, partnered with Mobilytics. I am Kyle Torak, and joining me per usual is Miso Shiro and Dead Rabbit. And if you're new here, we have our audio-only formats on Apple Music and Spotify. So if you don't want to watch us, check us out over there. This week, it's just the three of us. The trio are here to just hang out and talk Path of Exile 2. We do have a really sick slate of upcoming episodes. Next week, we have, I just want to open the episode with just showing our next three episodes. We have Jazzarus next week. The week after that, we have Arrow. And then the week after that, we have Lex D. So we have three back-to-back awesome guests planned for you guys. But this week, it's just us. We're going to be just chilling, doing a little bit of recap, analysis on the patch, and giving our general vibes. But before we dive into that talk, how you guys been doing? What you been up to, Miso?
Yeah, I mean, doing well. I'm still on that Path of Exile 2 train. No Phrecia for me, which, I don't know. Seems like maybe it was like kind of a good idea at the end of the day anyways. Seems like it's been mixed from what I've heard for Phrecia. I'm sure I would have a good time, but definitely is different from
like worse than the last, like, because people like comparative to like the Breach thing that just came out, like, or worse than that.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's worse or whatever. I don't think it's worse, but and I don't know. Have you looked into it at all or heard anything at all about Phrecia, Cal? So so I mean, do you know what last Phrecia was all about?
Yeah, it's the new. I know what it is. I just haven't been following the people were like I didn't know what people were upset with the current Phrecia. So
Yeah, I mean, so basically, last Phrecia was like this, uber blasty kind of league, right? Where everybody was there. Of course, there was like the new ascendancies and stuff like that, but overall, it was like they had new ways of juicing maps in a way that was, very different than what Path of Exile 1 has had in the past, with like idols being able to juice it with that. But overall, what ended up happening last league was everything was a super overpowered. People were printing currency like crazy. It was just overall just like a super fun, very blasty league. But Phrecia this time around, they ended up making it the opposite for the most part, and adding in gauntlet mods. So did you ever play the PoE1 gauntlet that Ziz hosted? So
No.
for that one, it was basically, here is a super hardcore challenge where we're going to add all these super hard mechanics to all the bosses and like make them uber juiced out to where like, you're probably be dying a lot. And that's kind of what ended up happening. So GG was like, hey, here's Phrecia League. We're bringing it back. And then for this league, we're adding in, and they never said they were going to add gauntlet mods specifically from what I know, from what people were telling me. They said that they were like, okay, we're adding in special affixes to maps and like special mechanics to bosses and things like that. They never specified, hey, we're adding in gauntlet mods. So a lot of people went into expecting Phrecia to be like last league, where it was super blasty, whereas it was the opposite. They were getting their ass blasted. So that's kind of
so it's too hard. It ended up being really hard. Why would you do that for like a isn't it Phrecia supposed to be like a short 2-week experience type thing?
Yeah, it is.
You want those to be blasty?
I mean, I think that's a lot of people expected that to be the case, but it ended up not being the case, which was why a lot of people were kind of disappointed, and a lot of people fell off the league pretty quick. Like I know Datmoz isn't playing anymore, Cute Dog's not playing anymore. Well, Flubgun, I think he's just burnt out from Path of Exile, so he's not playing this league either. But overall, but he did play for like the first day, but he quit afterwards. So a lot of people just weren't super satisfied with it, because I think there's not an inherent problem with the fact that there was gauntlet mods, but the fact that they just, in my opinion, it was just an issue with the communication, where they never really clearly communicated that that's what the league was going to be. And a lot of people felt kind of like, oh, shoot, wait a second, I expected it to be this thing, but then it was completely not. So that's kind of what happened. But yeah, still playing a lot of Path of Exile 2. Playing a build that I wanted to play since day one, which was Gia's Ember Fusillade build. And that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you look like you're having fun playing it.
Yeah, I'm having a blast.
Looks like a fun build. I think you showcased it on the podcast as well, right? So
yes,
yeah, that looks once again very
Titan,
good.
Right?
No, not Titan.
Is it Titan?
Blood Mage. It was my first Blood Mage and the first caster I've gotten this far into the game.
Damn.
Oh, damn.
That's insane. Once again, just showing how much or how many builds there are still under the hood that can just. When just watching your stream, I don't see a real like difference between like any of the COC Comet builds in terms of like just character power. It blasts everything. It blasts Temple, it blasts all the Abyss farms that you're doing, and yeah, just once again like a very good example of how many actual good builds or like top tier builds there still are that people are not really are overhyping at the moment under the hood of all the COC stuff.
Yep. It is still cast on crit though. Still is cast on crit.
Yeah. I mean, that is
all
the engine
caster
that
builds
powers everything.
lead to cast on crit, unfortunately, right now.
Yeah.
I actually don't think it's possible. I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but like, it's probably one of the only ways for a caster build to scale into the end game to that level. I think it's very hard to get beyond a certain level if you're not scaling cast on crit, cast on element.
I mean, it just makes sense under the hood of like any caster build. Why wouldn't you add it? It's just like you're doing what you're doing anyways, and as on top of that, you just get this extra spell that you don't even have to press. It's just like it just makes so much sense. I think it's going to be hard to balance around that because it's always going to be what people want, I think, or what people are eventually going to add on top of their builds. I think if especially a caster build is functioning extremely well, even without COC, it's even made better with COC. There's no reason to not add it.
Right? Want an extra spell? Just slot it in, and pretty much, what else are you going to use your spirit for anyway? It's not like you use heralds.
Well, that's why my confusion with Spell Totem has been, like, why they made it so extreme cost-wise. It's like, it's so easy. Like Rabbit literally just said, most caster builds, you can just slot in cast on crit, slot in cast on element. Like, you don't have to do anything extra for it, and then your build is suddenly also now doing what it was doing before, but comets or whatever on top of it. It doesn't have to be comets anymore, by the way. They're like, obviously, like so many people do like fireball and fun stuff like now that can clear all the content. But then if you want to do it through an alternate style like spell totems, you got to give your arm and the leg up for it. So maybe we would see less cast on crit builds if spell totems were less painful to interact with. I have not played a cast on a spell totem build this patch yet, which like surprises me. I figured like when I heard about it, I was like, oh hell yeah, that sounds like something I want to play with. I haven't touched it. I don't know if you guys have.
I've seen some that are pretty cool though.
I've seen like with Bone Storm. The Bone Storm ones look really cool, like for bossing, but that's
the Spark one.
It.
This Pulse Run.
Yeah,
Pulse Run
did
a
exactly.
Oh, I did see
Totem
Pal's
build.
Spark one, yeah.
Yeah.
Battle cool? Yeah.
I think he
Snowstorm
used
looks cool,
the chest armor that gives you a power charge every second that you haven't spent a power charge or haven't lost a power charge.
Flare Conduit, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and then he uses resonance to convert it into endurance charges so that he's never spending power charges. So he just gets charges every second, and then because you can summon your totem with endurance charges. It's just power charges give it damage, and endurance charges gives it, I think, duration or survivability or something like that. So it's really cool. And there's also somebody on my Discord that actually has a pretty cool totem build that he's been showcasing every now and then. And he has it as a comet totem that just one-shots bosses. He one-shot
Comet?
Yeah, well, the spell totem casts the comet. And then I think he just recently posted one where he one-shots a 6-man Arbiter with it.
Damn. Is he using Zarok's reframe so it echoes it or whatever?
I don't think so. It was just last time. Well, I didn't see the latest video, but last time I saw him one shot Arbiter, it was just one comet. It was so funny because he places down the totem, and because the cast time for the comet is so long, he's just sitting there, nothing's happening, and all of a sudden one comet comes down, boop, the boss dies.
The straight one shot, or is it doing ailment?
I think from what it's just one shots.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what about the latest version though.
That's what I want Comet to be, like just one big freaking nuke, not what it is, where it's like everyone's spamming a flurry of them. You're getting thousands easily.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
speaking of one shot, I just saw Empy's latest video where he posted his punch
slap?
build, his bear slap. I don't think he was able to ever one shot with a bear slap on like the highest level, but he did end up going like hollow palm for like a punch and did like 174 million damage in one punch.
Pretty hilarious.
Yep, just
He
a
did it on the
regular
mall
punch.
too, though.
Oh,
He did it
did
on
he?
the mall too.
He did? Okay.
Yeah, 174 million in one mall slap. It just took him. It just took him some tries sometimes because his character was incredibly squishy. So anything that just hit him, and also like the setup, and then he also relied on the crit sometimes. So sometimes when you get unlucky with the crit, because I think he ended up the build with like 3,300% critical damage bonus. So it was pretty reliant on the crit.
Right?
I don't think so. No Garukans.
Interesting, because I'm sure Garukan would have taken that to even higher ceiling.
Yeah, probably. No, very, very cool video. Like the amount of preparation going into that project once again, because when he first announced that and when he first did that, I was under the impression that he's just gonna do one character basically that's gonna be able to do that. But they basically as a community they min-maxed like the whole group setup, and the amount of planning. I can only like anyone that fancies themselves like thinking about Path of Exile 2 a lot and like thinking of interactions and group setups and setups for like characters and whatever, I would advise watching that video because it is very cool to see how people actually go all into that stuff. Like big shout out once again to Empy. Yeah. Just does all kinds of cool stuff all the time like this.
Yep. I've always wanted to learn like how to do an aura bot. Like one day I just want to like aura bot for somebody so I can learn how it's set up and stuff. But I've always loved like attack builds, like base attack builds. So like whether it's Mace Strike, like any of those type abilities. And sometimes you see pushback from people like the base skill shouldn't be or the base attack shouldn't be as powerful as like the main skills, but I think that it's cool when you do auto attack builds like that. And the one I've been playing a lot lately, so I've been on my hardcore solo self-found journey, and anytime I die, I'm not doing the same build. I'm doing a different build. Like, I'm not doing any different build. I'm doing a build I've never done before, period. And that sent me down playing all of the shapeshifts. We're going to be talking about primal skills later in the podcast, but this like re-rolling stopped when I started with Wolf, and then I started with Bear, and I ended up on Rend. And I absolutely love Rend. Rend is the coolest basic attack in the game by far. I'm having an absolute blast with Rend, and now I've played Rend on a Smith-Katava to 82 when I died to Architect because I had 52 cold res like a dumbass. And then I died randomly in maps my brain was off on a Witch Hunter, and now I'm doing it on an Amazon. And I don't know, I'm in love with Rend. But I like the auto attack skills. They're really fun. But Rend is super cool. That's the dragon attack. And it gets really fast, and then it gets buffed by power charges, where it makes you do a lot more damage and you have a bigger radius with it. So yeah, I don't know. I like attack builds.
I'm not sure if I'd fully consider the shapeshift auto attacks fully auto attack though. They seem,
Maul I would, but the other ones are like skills.
Yeah,
the other ones are really skills.
They're pretty much skills. If you put that as a skill gem, I would have been like, yeah, definitely.
Agreed.
These are definitely skill gems. But I do remember a point in time where, like, for warriors, for maces, auto attack was like what people considered to be the strongest ability.
Yeah.
So
it was good.
It's very interesting.
I did a Wind Dancer build that I was this is actually the first time Rabbit and I talked together. I did a Wind Dancer build on a Titan, and I was doing auto attack for bossing, and he was like, "Oh, this build's cool. I'm gonna do a version of it in Simulacrum from AFK Simulacrum." That was Rabbit and I's first time talking was after that. But that build was me doing a Mace Strike build for bossing, and yeah, it used to be really good for single target. I haven't played a Mace build this patch. I don't know where Mace Strike is at all right now.
I don't think it ever got nerfed, but I think the other stuff ended up getting better. Is the thing, because I think that patch, and that's to me that's a problem when the auto attack skill is better than everything else. I think that's an issue. I don't have an issue with it being like, on par, but when it's just like the best option, I'm just like, that's a little bit weird.
A lot of single target builds were using just Mace Strike. I think even in patch 0.1, I think one of Rue's first builds was using Mace Strike with 2 dual wielding maces because the offhand was doing something weird with
it was
crit damage
yep.
multipliers, and he was doing Herald Chains with just Mace Strike.
Yep.
So like people have been using Mace Strike very early on.
Offhands were having double the amount of crit damage multiplier compared to the main hand, which I ended up taking advantage too with Magma Barrier that league. You also did Magma Barrier that league, and that's when I first came in contact with your builds.
Yeah. I actually, the first time I remember talking about you was whatever I think you featured one of my. I think you featured the Arctic Armor Poison build before GGG did. You're like, you're consistently someone who features builds right before GGG does. Miso is a prophet with predicting builds.
I know I know what the cool builds are, I guess.
But Magma Barrier. Oh man, the glory days of Magma Barrier. Damn, it was so good back then, and now I don't even like. We're gonna have Lex D on in 3 weeks. He's the Mason shield expert at this point. So we'll dive into Magma Barrier then. But old Magma Barrier was amazing.
You know something else? I actually went back and looked at some of the videos the other day. I forget my reason why, but I was like, damn, I missed this. And then somebody clipped me and saying, I was like, damn, you know what? They need to bring back the parry play style. And then somebody was like, well, all right, time to clip that out of context. Miso loves parries. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. Magma Barrier was very special in that you really had to time it correctly. Like you had to have really good timing to actually be able to proc the Magma Barrier and do damage with it, which I thought was super cool playstyle. And I wish they had more of something like, you know, that type of playstyle was like timing based that we have in the game, but they kind of got rid of it, unfortunately.
Yeah. I've talked about this a lot in the Thorns Discord specifically and on my own channel because I do a lot of reflect builds. To me, like with Magma Barrier was the first reflect skill to get nerfed, and then Arctic Armor and Wind Dance have been nerfed repeatedly. To me, it just seems like GGG wants there to be 1 to maybe 2 viable reflect play styles, and in 0.4 you could play reflect of any flavor, and they were all very good. Like you were AFKing Simulacrum on all of them. So I feel like GGG, I wish they would have, like, I understand why they made the cooldown on it, because if you were standing in something that was hitting you a lot, you could really machine gun Magma Barrier, and it was doing like over 1 million damage easily. So you could like, you know, really like blur something down. But like, maybe they could have started with like a 1.5 second cooldown or something. Just like, they completely killed that play style.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any play styles?
Did you ever play Magma Barrier?
Yeah. And do you have any play styles that you miss, Rabbit?
I think it's kind of insane. Like, first of all, when we talk about all of that, like all of the different stuff that has come and gone already over the past year now, it's kind of insane for a game that is still this young, that we've went through this many different iterations of certain build archetypes and everything. I think first of all, that's like a good sign, because it really shows that GGG also is like experimenting with some stuff. But at the same time, I also feel like they need to like let some stuff flow a little bit more sometimes, because there's just we've lost a lot of stuff that I think was just very fun and not really broken in any sense of the word, and just opened up the playbook for a lot of people that try to do these types of build archetypes. I honestly think, and people would probably still argue that it is still a thing, but I think stat stacking is cool. I think stat stacking and going in a specific it doesn't have to be like this 0.1. Obviously, when you talk about stat stacking, most people will probably mention the 0.1 Gemling Legionnaire stat stacking with Tempest Flurry and whatever. It doesn't need to be necessarily that. I think overall stat stacking is a very cool thing that could be utilized in many different builds with lots of different effects. I've seen it flare up from time to time again with like accuracy stacking sometimes, and still like some of the stat stacking, especially then utilizing Jack of all trades and everything. I kind of miss it a little bit. I think stat stacking has a place here, and I think GGG fully intend to be stat stacking to be a thing, because it's here, right? We have all the tools for it. So that's probably a playstyle that I that I miss a little bit because it's very cool.
Yeah,
I mean, it
my
still
supporting
exists.
fire tech. Yeah, it
still
depends on the
exists
skill, right?
briefly.
Supporting fire
It does,
scales
yeah.
off of strength and dex, so that's a build
Yep.
I played recently that has like a high reason for stat stacking, and like it exists in ES builds because of Black Scythe training converts strength to energy shield, so you see a lot of strength stacking builds, or a lot of builds that will strength stack just to convert it to ES.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely still exists. I would like it to be more existent again on the forefront of any build. Like this is a stat stacker, like that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some around in 0.3. I'm sure this league there are some, but the problem is just like they're not very strong. They're like, it's like you have to, it's like, why would you play stat stacking when you could play another build that is just as good
exactly.
or better with way less investment? So I think that's kind of like what has happened to stat stacking. 0.1, it was like the premier way to go. In 0.2, they kind of killed it a little bit. And since then, it just hasn't been like, it's been a way to play, but it's just a very niche way and not very efficient way to play.
Yeah, the glory days of 0.1 Hoa, Pillar of the Cage Gods. That's we're not living in those days anymore.
Yeah, and especially because they killed Falcon Dive last league, so that kind of like destroyed a lot of stat stacking stuff that existed before, which people were like accuracy stacking and then putting a bunch of decks to get more accuracy, and yeah, it's not as good anymore.
Yeah. Another build I missed. Did you guys ever play with the old Biras?
Yeah,
Biras?
I never played with it, but I thought it was like one of the coolest builds out there, and I wanted to make a build, but I never did.
Such a fun build. I was so sad when they removed that.
Yeah, because Biras was super expensive when that build was around, so I never got to play it. Contrary to popular belief, I've been always, been a poor man in Path of Exile too. So, very unlike this league, but I've always been a poor man. So there are a lot of things that I couldn't play because I just couldn't afford it.
Yeah. Poverty Miso meme is over starting this league.
Oh,
Damn.
see, yep. I decided
but
no longer am I gonna be homeless.
I think overall, like I already said, I think it's a little bit unfortunate sometimes that we, for example, the Beira build, was it really that broken? I don't think so, especially comparing to like other builds. I really like those specific niche builds, just like I also like the niche farming stuff, for example, like the whole Omen of Light farm thing, where it's like a little bit more niche. I thoroughly enjoy that like part of the game and that specialization. I think we need more of that, not less. I don't think it's bad for the game to have like these niche kind of things that sometimes turn out to be a little bit, maybe a little bit too good, or maybe even broken or something. I personally like that, because the opposing thing, or the other option, is that everyone's just playing the same thing, and everyone's just playing all the builds that are in the top 20% or whatever, and there's just so much more that this game has to offer, I think. And I think I would want like a little bit more openness to that kind of stuff and to those archetypes. I think a lot of the times where GGG killed some of the archetypes wasn't really on purpose, and sometimes it was definitely on purpose. So yeah, let's see in the future how that is going to turn out.
Yeah. I have no problem with them nerfing really, really overpowered stuff, but when they just take a playstyle that's really cool, that isn't even that strong, and they're like, yeah, this isn't fitted the vision, and they just get rid of it, and I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah. Especially where we are in the game right now, there's not all that many builds, and you're taking away builds. That feels a little bit weird to me. So I hope that in the future that they don't. Last Lament
Lich. Last Lament Lich. Why did you have to do that?
Yeah. I've had a lot of my builds nerfed. Like every Arctic armor, I don't like. Some people say Wind Dancer can kind of do okay, but you can't AFK tier 3 Simulacrum like you used to be able
It's
to.
way weaker.
Arctic armor's dead. Like so many of these builds that like, and that always feels bad. But I guess that's just like one of the downsides of the being part of the early access is just like GG doesn't know how people are going to interact with these. When I think about Beras in the current meta, I don't think it would be broken. I just think they needed to fix, like, wasn't there a bug where it was like 100% proc rate off of critical weakness, so you could do it with like cheap investment into crit? So like you would just do it on a blood mage now, or get high crits. So like when I picture it in the current meta, I don't see it. It wouldn't have been like anything out of the ordinary. It would have been a very like maybe above average build.
I don't think it was even broken in 0.2, to be honest. Like, I remember it had good clear, but single target was pretty lacking.
Yeah. And I know I have a lot of friends who have tried to make Bira's builds work, but they're always like,
Well, now it just doesn't work
great.
The same as before. Now it just drops a little fire puddle
drops
on your
poop.
Yep, on your feet. So it's just isn't a bit. You can't even make a build around it or even try.
I'm still using it on my hardcore character right now because I wanted an ignite charm, and why not have the unique ignite charm, because ignite is just so damn dangerous this patch. So
I get that question so much when I'm playing. It's just like sometimes I'll put like one of the unique charms in, and they're like, "Why are you using this unique charm?" I was like, "Well, I wanted to get rid of like ignite, and like, why not use the unique one?"
Yeah, exactly.
There wasn't any extra thought into it than that, Slotted in.
I wonder if that's like, I don't know. Do you think that's good design where it's like there's kind of like almost no difference between the unique version and the regular version? Because like, yeah, the rare version, or the magic version, you can get like guard and stuff on it, but like, is that really that impactful compared to the unique version? I don't really think so.
They need to put like other stats on them and then make them a little bit more appealing, so you're actually trying to get magic ones that are augmented well.
Yeah,
I think so. Like if there's anything better on it, because right now it's literally just like, for most of them it's just like, I'm using Beras because I wanted the ignite immune. That's it.
Yep. It's like would you rather go with vanilla or vanilla bean? It's like, I guess I'll just have vanilla bean, I guess. Vanilla's... Yeah, it's like basically...
Give me that bean.
It's just like one or the other. It's like, they're not that much different. And the unique one adds like a little bit of extra flair for the most part. Other than like Rite of Passage. There's a huge difference between Rite of Passage,
Rite of Passage
and a regular gold charm.
Yeah, Rite of Passage is crazy. Yeah, but it used to be before that, like, I would, like, I really want them to, like, in 0.5, I hope Wisps are slightly adjusted, because I always interact with Wisp now, but I hate doing it every time. Like, I just hate doing it. I don't even have fast builds, and I'm somehow faster than the Wisp always. So...
I mean, they're just like downgraded Tormented Spirits from Path of Exile 1. I've always said that. I just wish they would work like that.
How do they work in PoE 1? Remind me. I know what you're talking about. The green ghost, right?
Yeah, they run away from you, and then rather than they chase you, they run away from you.
Oh, right.
Yep.
And you just kill them, right?
You can kill them before they go into the mob, or you can let them empower the mob and then kill them afterwards.
Right.
But yeah, right now, for the most part, Wisps are kind of like too slow, where they kind of are supposed to run away from you, but they don't. And then also they always have they don't go to like the nearest rare. They have a rare that they're assigned to.
Really? Okay, so that makes so much more sense to me. Thank you. Like, I will always be like, like, there's one right here. I'm like trying, like I always, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what happens when that one dies without killing the Wisp? But just get assigned to a new target?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
It's really annoying.
I did not know that.
I don't like the design. I love Wisps. I try to build it into my strategy every single league. I'm the Wisp guy. Farmer makes fun of me every league. They're like, oh my god, Miso here with another Wisp strategy. I can't believe it. And I like them, but they just suck at the end of the day.
I actually like Wisps now too. I dropped
Oh,
the Rite
yeah,
of
of course you
Passage.
do.
I've turned my opinion on Wisps around completely by dropping a Rite of Passage and in hardcore. So, yeah.
How many have you seen, Miso?
Rite of Passages?
Yeah.
None. I've never dropped one.
And you've been farming them this whole time?
I've been farming Wisps every league. Every single league I've been
Why?
farming
Why
Wisps.
you do this to yourself, man?
I don't know. Well, I mean, now
Oh.
there's what is it called? There's I don't know if you guys saw the Reddit post of the guy who got 6 or I guess now 7 Rite of Passages in the league.
I didn't see that, no.
No, so there was a Reddit post a while back, and he's a viewer of the channel. Actually, his name, his IGN or name on Twitch is Good Cough. If you ever see him around, but basically he made a post on Reddit talking about his strategy for farming Rite of Passages. And I tried that strategy out. Not much success, but it's because it's Rite of Passage is at the end of the day very rare, but the logic behind it makes sense and how he's doing it. So basically, what he's doing is he is running Abyss and Wisps. And what Wisps, their interaction with Abyss is really cool. And honestly, Abyss is I think the coolest mechanic ever because it interacts with so many things. But we can go into that after this. But Wisps, how it works is if you have a Wisp that goes onto a rare, that is an abyssal rare, right? So you know how you have to kill the rares before the Abyss erupts with monsters. So if you kill that rare on top of the Abyss and the Abyss erupts, every single rare in that Abyss gets influenced by that Wisp.
Bro, what?
Yeah. So if you kill that rare, every single rare on top in that Abyss gets influenced by the Wisp. So what that means is a lot of times you're coming into an Abyss and there's 2, 3, 4 rares or something like that, right? Normally a Wisp would only affect one monster. But if you put a Wisp onto a rare on top of an Abyss, when the monsters emerge from the pit, all those rares are now influenced by that Wisp, which is a pretty cool interaction.
So you just run Abyss Wisp tablets with extra rares.
Yeah, exactly. So as many Wisps as possible, as many rares as possible, and then now you have a ton of rares that are affected by Abyss. By the Wisps, which basically the strategy behind it is, and there's not really a real this is a special trick. The at the end of the day, it's just there's a lot of rares that are affected by Wisps. That's why you're getting more Rite of Passages because you're just getting more pulls at the slot machine, basically.
So what you essentially you find the Wisp, you get it to its rare, and then you kite that rare to the Abyss.
You don't kite the rare to the Abyss. It's just that the Wisp goes onto the rare that is spawned up by the Abyss. Because how Abyss works is that when the mobs spawn on the map, some rares are abyssal rares because they spawn on top of the Abyss, and some rares are not abyssal rares because they don't spawn on top of the Abyss. Even if you kite that rare into the Abyss, if it wasn't on top of the Abyss originally, it's not going to respawn from the Abyss.
So you can't force the Wisp into the Abyss every map. You just have to hope the Wisp targets an Abyss mob
if
rare?
if you kill every single rare that's not an abyssal rare, before you kite the Wisps into the pit, the rares, you will always guarantee that the Wisps become go into the abyssal rares. Yep. It's a cool strategy.
You still haven't gotten a single Rite of Passage.
Well, I tried it only for one stream. I didn't really, because it ended up being just a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of work, right? You have to kill you have to kill the rares that are not Abyss rares, and then you got to kill the boss afterwards and get all the checkpoints to see all the mobs. Because how it works right now is that you don't get to see everything on the map until you get every single checkpoint and you kill the boss. So how that strategy worked was you would rush, get all the checkpoints, kill the boss, open up the entire map. Now you can see every single rare on the map, and you can see which ones are Abyss rares and which ones are not Abyss rares. You kill all the not Abyss rares, then you go and kite the Wisps to the mobs. So it ended up just being a lot of work, and I was like, oh god, maybe drop rates of Rite of Passage is high on this because you just get so many more spins in the slot machine, but man, is it a troublesome to do. Like, people are already annoyed at having to run Wisps while they're running naps normally. Now you gotta do this stuff where you skip all the mobs and find the boss first, then you kill everything, and like it was a little huge setup. That's why I didn't really like it, but it works. Definitely works.
Yeah, that's
or
pretty
you just or you just don't do all of that and just get one without even trying.
Yeah, not everybody
I
can
heard
be
that
Rabbit.
works.
Not everybody can be you, Rabbit.
And then you made Blaze think you were giving it to him.
No, that was just a miscommunication. Come on.
So funny.
That was just a miscommunication.
Yeah, Rite of Passages are awesome. I've never seen one. And like, it's funny. It's like, I see it all the time. Like, I can't believe you didn't put Rite of Passage in your Thorns build. I can't believe you didn't know about it. It's like, yeah, I know about Rite of Passage. Like, I want to make another build. I don't want to like spend like 1,000 divines for one. Like, how much are they right now? Probably like 400 or 500 divine.
No, they're like
mirrors.
Yeah, mirrors.
Oh, they're mirrors now. Okay.
Yeah, Stag, the good ones, like the ones that give you movement speed and skill speed, which is Stag, Wolf, and Cat, are at least a mirror. But
of course,
this league is just bananas when it comes to like prices. It doesn't mean anything. I've said before, I do really like the idea behind Rite of Passages, and especially like the ones, like I said, that give you skill speed and movement speed, because it just makes your character infinitely better once you actually get one. I'm not sure if I like it though, and I think we've talked about this before, how much impact stuff like Headhunter and Rite of Passage has to your character. Because in the end game, when you just throw like a shit ton of divines onto your character and just slap on a Headhunter and slap on one of those Rite of Passages, your like your whole build becomes like a glob of other builds that also do that, and it just, I don't know. I really like them, and I think Rite of Passages are awesome, and I also really like Headhunter, obviously. But it does kind of have the effect of like mushing together a lot of other builds, because every build is good with those two. If you have a Headhunter, if you have one of the good Rite of Passages like that, your build is infinitely faster. You clear faster. It works for everything. They just give you damage and everything. So I like it, but I don't like it at the same time a little bit.
I mean, this is my first league playing with a Rite of Passage, and I'm playing with Rite of Passage Cat. I mean, I don't really think it's that crazy. I to be completely honest with you, for me at least, I have almost noticed zero difference. Now my build is 90% crit base. So
15% movement speed and 30% skill speed.
I mean, maybe slightly. I don't really notice that much. Like,
the build is just that good.
Yeah, it's just that good.
Well, I agree with like the perspective of Headhunter. Like, yeah, I hate putting Headhunter in any of my like I'm so boring. And it's like I got kind of snippy at a viewer in chat the other day. He was like, "Can you put Headhunter in this build?" And I was like, I got annoyed. I was like, yeah, like anyone who asks that question, you already know you're putting it in the build. Like, why are you asking me? Like, you know you're going to run Headhunter already. Like, if you're asking about Headhunter, you're running Headhunter in the build, and it can fit into any build probably, as long as it's not depending on a unique belt slot like Soul Tether or something.
Yeah,
so
there's builds that do depend on.
I hate Headhunter though. I hate it. It's not just because it can warp you into mobs and kill you. I just like. Uniques that become the build are not fun to me, and that's what I see when I see a Headhunter builds, and I'm like, well, you just killed a boss with like 30 rare buffs. Like, I don't know how powerful your build actually is because of that. And it's cool for some people. I'm not trying to just, I don't want to shit on people who like using Headhunter. It is very fun. It's awesome being that overpowered. But as a build crafter, I see what you're talking about. It's like anytime there's a Headhunter in the build, it's hard for me to detach my brain from it. Like, is this just a Headhunter build, or are you like most of the time, if it's a Headhunter build, it's either a build that's being so carried by Headhunter because Headhunter's overpowered, or it's a build that's so overpowered on its own that you could just slot Headhunter in to make it even more overpowered, and it's just snooze to me.
Yeah, I mean, Headhunter is, I think, forever going to be that type of thing. I mean, it is in Path of Exile 1 too. It's just. It's hard to say because it's so fun. I think a lot of people really enjoy using it. I enjoy using it, but it does at the end of the day sometimes end up trivializing builds. And the worst part is like when you're, I think the worst thing about Headhunter for me is when you look at a build showcase on a build guide and the person's just showing like, you know, their build with like a million Headhunter buffs, and then it's just like, look at this amazing build, and then people are like, wow, that looks really cool, and they go try to build it themselves. Like, wait a second, this is nowhere near what, you know, I saw in the video. It's like, yeah, obviously because that person had like a million Headhunter buffs. That's why it looks so great.
That's like I okay, this my take is this might be too far, but I think if you're doing a build guide for YouTube, and if you're showcasing your build on YouTube, and if you use an acceleration shrine in your gameplay footage, you should be locked up in prison.
I think it's fine if you have plenty of clips that are showing what it looks like without acceleration shrine, but there are build creators out there who will like only put shrine gameplay in there. If you have a fast
if there's
build,
an acceleration shrine, sorry, Cal. If there's an acceleration shrine in your gameplay footage for your build, you better be in prison right now, and not
that's
nice Norwegian
so many
prison.
people run additional shrines, and almost every map when you run additional shrines will have an acceleration shrine. So it's pretty common to want to show off a brief clip of what it like. If you have a super fast build and you have like 5 seconds of what it looks like with acceleration shrine, showing how extra fast it is, that's cool. But I agree.
Azkaban,
if you're showing
with the mentors. Everything.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that bad. I know what you're talking about though when you're showcasing shrine footage only, but I think it's cool to see an acceleration shrine in a clip sometimes, just because of how crazy it looks.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, we know you're kidding. Azkaban's not real, or is it?
It isn't.
You muggles.
I just recently watched all the Harry Potters. I never watched Harry Potter. I recently watched it, and now I know everything about Harry Potter. So
you hadn't read the books either?
The Mentors. No. I do audiobooks. Okay, I do audiobooks.
Audio. That's
massive amounts
you're
of ADHD.
You're consuming the content, so. Audiobooks is fine too if you listen to audiobooks, but at least you're catching up on pop culture, unlike Miso, who hasn't seen Lord of the Rings, was it?
That is crazy to me.
Hey, don't make fun of me just because my family never paid for my movie tickets back in the day, all right? Back in the day.
That is crazy to me.
What about right now? What excuse do you have as an adult?
New Zealand. We're going to New Zealand, Miso.
I will watch it. I will watch it before we go.
Okay, if you haven't, you have to come 2 days earlier to New Zealand, and I'm going to strap you to a chair, and we're going to watch the extended versions of Lord of the Rings, all of them.
I just don't watch movies that often. I'm sorry. I never grew up with the culture of watching movies. To this day, I can probably count the number of movies I've watched on like my hands and toes. 100%. That is probably the number.
I've watched like 5 movies in the last 2 days.
I don't consume movies. I just don't. I can count the number of movies I've watched on both my hands and toes, probably.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Have you seen Harry Potter?
I've seen some of them, not all of them.
Have you seen Star Wars?
Some of them, not all of them. I think I've only watched the bad Star Wars movies. I watched, the one with Count Dooku and the Clone Wars.
That one's good.
There's no way you just called the prequels bad Star Wars movies.
It was like I think it might have been like Clone Wars and like Rise of like Sith or something like that. I don't remember.
Revenge of the Sith?
Prequels.
Yeah, those are good ones.
The best ones.
No. Which one?
Listen, every era of Star Wars has haters. The ones you're supposed to hate are all the new ones that came out recently. Though.
Well, I mean, it's not all the newest ones. It was one of the ones that
the ones from the 2000s were good.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
People usually
Count Dooku were good.
People told me that was bad.
Yeah, every generation of Star Wars has haters. Every era has haters, but the prequels are sick.
People have turned around on the prequels over the past few years.
If you compare them to the current stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's definitely shifted a lot. But I don't know. I always loved pod racing, man.
Yes. How did we get here? You have to watch Lord of the Rings, so.
I'm sorry. I'm just not a movie watcher.
build diversity in this patch. How have you guys felt overall for it? Do you feel like like there's don't compare to the builds that are like doing crazy things, one-shotting full group bosses, but like if the goal is clearing all tier 3 content, do you think build diversity is in a healthy spot?
I think we are at a spot right now in 0.4. I don't think there has been a patch where there were more diverse builds that were able to do all content. I think whether it is due to, like, even if we take out Headhunter and Rite of Passage, what we just talked about, basically any build that you're able to slap on Headhunter and Rite of Passage can do any content in the game. As long as you're getting Headhunter stacks, obviously it always then depends on the single target damage and whatever. I don't think there has been a patch where it has been this many archetypes that can just do all content. Pinnacle content, like quick mapping content, temple, whatever. We have so many this patch. There's like just when you take out all the Spark, COC, Elemental Weakness at the top, then we have like the Ranger archetypes with Poison Burst. We also have people using Ice Shot a lot. Lightning Arrow is still a thing, even though people forget about it. It kind of suffered from the whole thing that Lightning Spear also had, where it was good. And it's still good, but people are kind of over it for now. And that definitely happened. Speaking of Lightning Spear also still works. There's Glacial Lance on Spear builds that still works. Like the Bleed Spear builds with the Series Spear is also something that absolutely works. We have all the reverse chill stuff. That is just like, that's not necessarily a specific build, but just an archetype that you can apply to a lot of different builds. That absolutely works. We have a huge amount of caster builds that work. We have all the frost stuff, like the thing that existed before with using Frostbolt with Snake Pit and everything, and just proccing whatever you want with that, with cast on critical and everything. That was just spears. Then like bow builds, I probably forgot a few. Then we go to crossbows, and then we have all the crossbow builds. We have Galvanic Shards that still works. We have all the grenade builds that are still very, very good and popular. Explosive shot, like anything like that. Then, I forgot something on quarterstaves. We also have Whirling Assault now. Whirling Assault is played on multiple different ascendancies and works. I haven't really seen a lot of Hollow Palm endgame builds. Like Quarterstaff, I think in that regard is kind of dead a little bit. Yeah. And then there's still like so much. I could go on and on and on and on. And these are all builds that are easily doing all content and are easily able to stack some rarity on them to be able to do anything. I don't think we've had that situation before where it's this many.
No. And I think that it should be like this every single patch. We get more and more build diversity because every single patch we will get, hopefully better balance skills, but also more skills. And as a result, you get more and more builds that are viable, more uniques to make builds viable. That's the ultimate goal. And I think that if there is a patch where you go from a lot of build diversity to less build diversity, then something is really wrong with the game. Something really weird happened. So it should definitely be like this.
And also, I think we've said this before on the podcast, we and others shouldn't gauge build diversity by the top builds. I think, and we said this multiple times before on the podcast, there is always going to be like this top 3 builds. That's always going to be the case. And there's always going to be a certain percentage of players gravitating towards those builds because they are made popular by content creators. They are made popular by the PoE2 ninja numbers, and people just go for the absolute upper echelon. I think that is always going to exist. And we've talked about this like a lot before on the podcast. There's always going to be this these builds under the hood, basically, of that. And I think going from 0.3 into 0.4, we've already seen a massive change into a lot of different build archetypes and different builds that are just as easily doing all the content just as easily as some of the top meta builds, even though those will always exist in a certain stage.
Yeah. And one thing we need to remember is meta doesn't always mean the best, because I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. I still think Twisters are completely busted. I think Twisters are
forgot about those.
They're like, it's an S tier build in my opinion, and nobody plays it. Nobody plays it.
Does
Prada and Snoo are like the two.
I was about to say, does Snoo Bay still play Twisters? But yeah,
both of them have been basically pioneering that build every single league, and every time I see that build, I'm just like, this is insane. Literally everything just dies on the screen immediately, and it's like beyond just the screen, it's like multiple screens away, and you also get heralds, you get everything like those. And like if you scale your single target, like if you scale your gear enough, single target is also just a joke too. So like there's, at the end of the day, people need to remember that the meta doesn't always mean that's the best thing. It's just the thing that is the most popular. It's not that it's bad. It's probably still one of the top builds, but it doesn't always mean it's the best. And when we think about build diversity, we just have to think about of course the top builds are always going to be there, but thinking about everything around it and what's viable and what's strong.
And I don't, and also, like I said, it is also just in a game like PvE2, it is also just heavily influenced by the like streamers and ninja numbers and whatever. For a large part of this league, like for the first few weeks, I would say like 2 or 3 weeks of the league, the second most played ascendancy was Pathfinder after I think, or like the second played class was Pathfinder. And Shaman. I would say 90% of those players were playing Poison Burst Pathfinder, and I wouldn't even rank the Poison Burst Pathfinder. And after we go over this league, I wouldn't even rank it top 5, maybe not even top 10 of good builds in this league. It was just like heavily influenced. It's a very good build. It was especially a very, very good league starter, but I wouldn't even rank it in a top 5 of best builds in this league by a long shot.
Yeah. The meta discussion is one I've had on my channel a lot. Actually, I had an old commentary series that I started on PvE2. It was called Off the Meta. It was, and the literal first episode of it was what is the meta, and I used to clash a lot with this concept because I come from competitive games, and in competitive games, when you're playing something off meta, that usually means bad. It means you're playing something that is not in the normal competitive meta because it's not good. Doesn't mean you're bad with it, but off meta generally in these games means bad. And anytime people were calling me an off meta creator, I'm like, no, dude, I'm killing all the content with it. Like, this is not off meta. You guys are wrong with how you think about meta. And after I made this video and got all the comments on it, I realized that like the ARPG, or maybe it's just the Path of Exile community, has their own definition for how it's not a competitive game, so it's not like it's an own definition, but the meta just means a little bit different here, and it took me a while to realize that. Like, yes, meta does not mean best; it means popular. It means what everyone at the top is playing. And that's all the meta means. If you're an off meta creator, if you're making off meta builds, if you're playing an off meta build, that doesn't mean it's bad at all. It just means it's not what's popular. And oftentimes playing off meta builds is either good or bad in a lot of ways, because off meta builds can oftentimes mean it depends on how off meta the build is. But if it's a slight off meta build, it means that it's usually cheaper to get into because there's not millions of people playing it. But if it's far off meta, that means no one's playing it, so there's no one crafting gear for it, so you can't gear for it at all. So there's a weird dance with off meta builds, but it has nothing to do with the power. I've come to realize and accept it myself that it has nothing to do with the power of the build. I don't want to say it's purely popularity, but it's a largely popularity, and it's popular because it's powerful. But it doesn't mean the most meta builds are not like a tier list of top 5 builds. And yeah.
I think what you said is very. I think you hit the nail on the head in talking about competitive games versus like this is just not a competitive game, because in a competitive game your incentive is to play the best, and that's why those best things become meta, because you're trying to win, so that's why those best things become the meta. Whereas with a non-competitive game, the best thing might not the meta might not always be the best thing, because nobody's out there. Like, a lot of people want to farm the best, the highest number of divs possible, whatever, per hour, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's many ways to get that in a non-competitive game. And maybe it's like slightly worse, but then, certain people advertise it, then it becomes a popular thing. And also with these is like, probably because there's so many options that the content creator that makes a certain build that's powerful, popular, maybe they haven't explored something else that later on becomes better. And as a result, because that content creator never covered it, it never becomes that popular, even though it's very strong.
Agreed. Talking more about this patch. We never got patch 0.4.1. We've talked about this a lot. I feel like since the start of this podcast, we have all complained a lot about the lack of patches this game gets. But this is the first patch we have not received a 0.1 patch. I don't know if we've passed the point where in the timeline the other patches had received their 0.1 patches yet. I'm not sure there. I am at the point where I don't think we're getting 0.4.1. I think all chefs are no longer in this kitchen. They are preparing 0.5 and they are working on 3.28 or 9. I don't know which one of those is coming. I forget which one. They're done with this league. Do you think we're getting a 0.4.1 MISO? And if we did happen to get one, what would you want changed?
Yeah, so I am also on the same boat in that I don't think we're going to get a 0.41 because I actually think that the state of the league for a lot of the things that they can change, like, is actually really good. I think the one glaring thing at the end of the day is how strong Temple is, but where we are in the game, I don't think it makes sense to change it anymore. It doesn't make sense to nerf it right now. It doesn't make sense to change things and how they work. I think that because of that, there's not really much of a reason for them to have a 0.1 patch. And they're already strapped enough for manpower as it is. So they're probably all hands on board on Path of Exile 1 right now. And they're like, you know what? Path of Exile 2 is in a good enough place. We don't need to give them anything. Of course, we would always benefit from a 0.4.1, but I think that because of just the whole thing with manpower, they really just got to shift their focus to Path of Exile 1 right now and not really focus too much on Path of Exile 2. Having said that, though, there are things that I would love to have for Path of Exile 0.4.1 if they do come out with it. Even like, just like, of course, there's changes for the game itself that I think could be improvements for problems, but like, we've always talked about it. It's like we really liked the 0.2.2 where they just added a bunch of uniques just to throw, something new into the game. That I think could be a lot of fun. And if they have stuff in the works for that, maybe throw it in and just give us like, hey, here's just a little bit extra content for you guys to just play around. We know there's not really that many existing problems in the game that are game breaking, but we want you to have something new to play with to breathe a little bit of extra life into the league. I would love for that, but they're probably not going to do it. But what I would say for kind of like problems or things I like an improvement, a lot of it comes from Temple. I've talked about this a couple of times, but I would really love for there to be a lot of people talk about this, right? They would love to have the Temple reset button, a button to just reset the entire temple for them. I think a lot of people would appreciate that. You can do it now, but it kind of is a little bit time consuming. I'd love it if that when you press the little portal button on your character and you go back to the beginning of the temple, you could go back to your portal instead of having to go back through the entrance. That would be really nice quality of life, especially how often people are actually dumping stuff into their stash tabs. That would be great quality of life. But the biggest one for me that I would really love for Temple has to be like, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, I'm sure you have, but when you place a room down, sometimes you place it down on accident in a wrong spot, or you place down the wrong room. It would be nice if you can undo things until you press the open temple button or like enter temple. I don't know why they don't let you do that. It doesn't make any sense to me, but having that ability is just a no-brainer for me. It's like, why can't you undo it? Why does it like when you put down a room, it's just there. You can't make a change. And then I think a lot of people will talk about this as well, but I think that the temple could really benefit from like what is it called? Wait, I just lost my train of thought.
He's not used to having sleep. He's not used to being rested before the pod.
Yeah, I'm not used to being rested.
I'm the sleepy one.
No, Rav is the sleepy one, exactly. Yeah, there's one more thing that I want to talk about, but kind of lost me. I lost it, so I'll probably remember it as we talk about.
It's probably gonna go under anyways with all the changes to temple.
Oh, sharing the temple sharing at the end of the at the end game, being able to share between characters. We talked about it before. Yeah. How when you make a new character, your temple's just like, well, you gotta start a new one. But I would like it to be a situation where you can actually be like, hey, do you want to share your temple with another character? If so, here's a drop down menu of all your characters that have a temple. Which one do you want to share it with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be
that really sucks. I guess that's just a thing with hardcore solo self-found, but because each temple is character specific and hardcore solo self-found, every time you get a new character, you have no choice but to start over from zero. So even in that scenario, you're not going to be able to copy your temple unless the temple goes to the void that you can still copy from there. But yeah, I would love copying the temple because I've been thinking there's a few builds I've been wanting to revisit in Trade League, but a lot of the reason why I haven't wanted to is just like the idea of rebuilding a temple right now sucks.
Yeah. Also, what do you guys think about this? Like in Path of Exile 1, and this might be a thing in the future too, because you weren't able to do this. I'm pretty sure you weren't able to do this from the beginning. But in Path of Exile 1 for incursion, you can actually it works a little bit differently because it's like consumable. Like after you're done with the temple, the full temple destabilizes technically. Like if we want to go off of Path of Exile 2 terms, but being able to have find already pre-built temples or being able to share / sell pre-built temples, I wonder what do you guys think about that? Being able okay, I built my temple and now I'm gonna be okay, we're gonna take this temple and sell it to somebody else. You don't get to keep the temple anymore. You just package it up and put it on the market.
People already do that in PoE 2 with the Barrias.
Yes, exactly. Very similar to Barria. Exactly.
I'm not.
That's a wild one though.
It would have I would need to see what the Atlas tree does for this, for Temple, because let's just say Rabbit were to make a Giga Juice Temple, 80 rooms, right, and then he were to sell it to poor ass Miso. Miso's 20 divine character. Can't handle that temple, so he's gonna try it, die, destabilize.
It wouldn't cost 20 divs. It would cost probably a mirror.
No, I'm saying your character that was built with 20 divine wouldn't be able to handle that big temple, so he would go.
But you wouldn't be able to afford it. You wouldn't be able to afford it.
Well, yeah, in that sense too, you wouldn't be able to afford it. But I'm just saying, in that world where, let's say the economy was flooded with them, right? People were just churning them.
But they're not
out, right?
I mean, they wouldn't be flooded with them.
Just play in this hypothetical world where even in that world where the person got their hands on the temple and were able to do it with their bad gear, they would die so many times that they wouldn't be able to even clear it and benefit from it, right? So
then they shouldn't have bought the temple to begin with.
I'm not saying that of course they shouldn't have done the temple. That's not the point. The point is there would be no abuse there. If someone was selling these temples, there's no way for the everyman to abuse this. So I don't see there being a downside with it.
I see what you mean now. I see what you mean.
Yeah, it would be if this was in the game and they were just somehow flooded where someone duped them and they're 10 divine, it wouldn't be bad for the game because your everyman's just gonna die and destabilize it down to 40 rooms or whatever. And then yeah, I don't see it being bad for the game.
I thought you were saying it was bad because of that.
No. I was saying it can't be. I don't think it could be exploited in a weird way.
Miso is like the guy. Yeah, Miso is like the guy in the group of improv and being like, "We're in a supermarket right now," and Miso's like, "No, we're not. We're in a
we're in a theater right now." No, I just misunderstood what he was saying. I completely missed the part where he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't see why it would be a bad thing." Yeah, I don't.
No, yeah, I might have phrased it weird. I don't remember how it went down that path, but yeah, that's what I meant. Was I don't see it being a bad. There's no. I'm not against it. I think it would be cool. I just need to see how the Atlas tree is set up for the temple. Why are you against it?
I don't know. That sounds sounds awful to me because it's just gonna once again it smells to me like people selling their diamond accounts or people selling their accounts being like, oh, this is a mythic
look at it from the
rating account.
perspective of like you're
just
wanting to build up your temple halfway through the league, and you wanted to like it gives you a jumpstart way to get your temple faster.
No, you should build up your temple yourself. You need to do the work yourself. Don't let it. No,
I think also you're under the assumption that temple is still the best farming method.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. In this
because next patch, I'm sure, I'm 100% sure GG is going to be nerfing the shit out of temple.
Yep.
I hope it's not going to be to a point where it's just not viable to run. But when we're in that situation, right, the temple ends up being something that is on par with other methods, and you might be a person that you love temple, but you don't want to spend all that time building up your temple. Now, there's people who love building temple.
Sorry. Yeah. Tough shit. Then
I agree with that. What if it was not selling your temple? What if it was you could sell crystals? What if you could buy crystals from Ainge to like get into the temple to build it faster? You still had to build it brick by brick, but you sped up the mapping process.
No. Am I
Rabbit's
crazy?
Just a hater. He's just a hater.
Am I crazy here? It's tough shit. You're
well.
If you
don't,
you're someone who in order to build your temple, you had to make a temporalis build to clear maps in 2 minutes to experience the temple, and you're saying that gets cheapened by someone getting crystals through trade?
No, you can still get crystals. It might take you a little bit longer.
I just literally proposed if you could get crystals from Ange and you wanted to build your temple faster that way. Do you have a problem with that?
Yes, because it just opens up the. Wait. No, wait. I just thought about it.
It's the same thing as Barriers.
You can buy breach splinters. You can buy breach splinters from Ange too. I wouldn't be as opposed to that, but I do feel like it just like why have the.
I guess what's your feeling on buying Barriers?
I think that's fine.
What's the difference between buying Barriers and buying a temple?
You still have to do the last floor.
I mean, you're still running the temple
with
and
your temple's still gonna get destabilized if you don't keep it up, right? If you don't upkeep your temple, it could still just disappear, and you get unlucky and just don't get locks.
Okay, I'm in the supermarket
I'm
now.
I'm not fully on board with selling your whole temple, but I do.
I don't even know how I got here. I think this is like a crazy thing that will never happen anyway. I don't think
it's crazy because in PoE 1 you can sell your incursions. You can
I don't think it's that crazy either.
You can sell a fully built out temple in PoE 1. Now they work differently in the sense that you run the temple and the whole thing goes away. But it's similar in that aspect. But the reason why I'm thinking about this is I think there could be a world where, and maybe it's not to the extreme of selling your entire temple, but I think there could be a world where potentially maybe throughout the campaign or whatever, if you're playing, let's say you put in tablets for your temple, right? Because next league we're gonna have tablets for temple. In those maps, maybe you could drop blueprints for a temple. They might not be fully built out, but they're the start to a temple that is focused in a certain way. That way we can help potentially people who aren't as knowledgeable about temple have a built out temple without having to suffer through the initial part of how to, the RNG, all the everything. There's a lot of friction that comes with building a temple that could be kind of alleviated a little bit. So maybe it's not even just about a fully built out temple, and maybe it's not about players selling their temple, but maybe it's just having a way to have a blueprint. I'm
starting to do a 180. I'm at the tough shit mindset that Rabbit opened with a few minutes ago. When I think about it when I think about it in terms of Delve, if someone's I'm kind of a Delve fan, but not a super big Delve fan, I want an easier way to get into Delve, tough shit. Like just go play Delve, like play it like you're supposed to play it, build it up yourself. Like so when I compare it to Delve and like it being like, can you like buy something that just skips you to Delve depth 2000? Like obviously that's it's not 1-to-1, but like there is like if it is the mechanic you're committed to. But it's like also it's different from Breach in the sense that like if like you can just speed through, like you can ignore Breach all league, and then like on week 2 you can just buy 300 splinters and complete the Breach Atlas passive, and you are fully caught up on Breach, fully invested in the Breach. There's no catch up you have to do. Versus the Temple, where like if 0.5, if you don't start Temple week 1 or 2, you're probably not going to play Temple the entire league, right? So it's different. It's tough. I could see.
I don't think I've ever
okay.
been. I don't think I've ever been confused as much by a topic we have on the podcast like this one. I don't know what to think anymore.
It's
lost.
tough.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying that we should. By the way, I just introduced it as a topic of discussion because I think it could be an interesting, like it was just an interesting idea to talk about.
Yeah. Imagine like you're someone who like Rabbit, you just spent this league learning how to build a temple. So now next league, that's a hard fucking thing to do. That's knowledge and time. And so if you like, that's a viable farm method for you now. You can I want to spend my first week building a 50-room temple, and then I'm going to sell it for a mirror. And then I'm fucking like that's my league start currency. Like so it like there's it could be cool if you're one of those people that loves temple and wants to sell them. And then as someone who doesn't know how to build temples, but knows how to maintain one, that lets me get into the environment easier. Like Miso was just saying with the blueprints. So like, I could see it. I don't hate it. But I also
what if my body
hate
is
it.
the temple?
What'd you say, Rabbit?
Our bodies are a temple.
What if my body is the temple? I'm not selling that.
Yeah. It doesn't matter anyway. Everyone's going to be in Delve next patch, so.
Are we there?
Food for thought.
It's a good discussion. If I was more prepared for it, I might have had like ideas, but that's a good discussion for sure. That's cool. I could see it working.
Comment what you guys think in the YouTube comments or whatever. Do you guys think that there should be
I love the tough shit argument though. Like if you're on the tough shit side, then I see it. I'm partially on it too. Like I think I doesn't even want his I'm 50-50.
Rabbit doesn't even want his own house built by somebody. He wants to go build his own house himself. His apartment right now, he built that apartment. He didn't have somebody else build it for him.
It depends on if GGG wants them to be, if GGG plans on Temple to be like, because like with Delve is purely like a side content. It's like almost like designed, I think Miso, you've called it an alternative to Endgame. I don't know if Temple is designed to be an alternative to Endgame in GGG's head. So I guess that's just like where the deciding factor is. Do they want someone living in Temple or not?
Let's move on.
Okay. Let's talk about Druid archetypes. I've been playing a lot of the Druids. I know you both play Druids. And Druid is really cool in the sense that there are a lot of different builds out there for Druid.
Not the class, by the way. Right? Not the class.
Sorry,
Druid.
excuse me. Primal skills. Excuse me. Yes. Primal skills. The Druid skills. So anything from the Primal tab and shapeshifts. I think they are a grand slam in the fact that there's a lot of different types of ways you can play those builds, and they're all pretty damn good. Like I don't know if there's a single Druid skill out there that is a complete flop. I could be wrong there, but the problem I'm running into is a lot of the Druid skills are very combo oriented and forced. We've talked about plants with racks, how you're pretty much going the same route with plants and you're forced to get wild surge incantations. And all of these shapeshifts builds I've been doing, they're pretty much the same. You're in terms of the combos you're using in them. All the wolf builds are pretty much the same for the summon versions or for the attack based versions. All of the oil barrage builds, all the Ren builds, all the dragon breath builds, they're pretty much the same because the GGG has designed them to be used together in certain ways and to function, I guess, in certain ways. And I have found that to be very almost boring, especially with the wolf skills. When I dove into a wolf build, I was very shocked at like you're just like there's all the wolf builds look exactly the same, and it makes sense why, because the skills are kind of forced to be pushed together in these little ways. Have you guys felt that? Because to me, like when I look at the druid skills, it's like I don't see this getting solved until GGG adds another 30 druid skills or primal skills, excuse me. Like we just need a lot more. Because right now it's just like, well, if you're going to be playing, Rampage, you're going to be playing, Rampage the way everyone else plays it, except you might be swapping the ascendancy it's on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. But I think it's like you said, it will be like that until they add more skills, because at the end of the day, the primal skills and the druid kind of like play style, it's really 4 classes in one. You have like bear is a different class compared to wolf, which is a different class compared to wyvern, which is a different class compared to plant druid. But the thing is, if you look at the skill, the uncut skill gem menu, it's basically the same amount of skills as any other class archetype, right? So essentially, you're fitting in 4 classes into a subset of skills that is the same as the size of any other any other playstyle archetype. And that's the end of the at the end of the day, why it feels like every single class is the same, because there's only so many bear skills, there are only so many wolf skills, there's only so many wyvern skills. Now they are kind of somewhat meant to interchange with another, but for the most part, you're going to be playing, if you're playing a wolf build, you're mostly playing wolf skills. If you're playing a bear skill, mostly bear skills, etc., etc. And that, at the end of the day, to me, is the reason why they are so on rails in many aspects.
That's a good term, on rails.
Yeah. But I don't think it's necessarily like, I don't think it's going to stick around forever, because as we get more skills, there's going to be more diversity. But at the same time, I don't think, even if they kind of stick in this manner or fashion, I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. I think it's very anti Path of Exile, but I don't think it's
I didn't want to say this, but to me, it's almost a D4 class. Like it's very forced into that.
Yeah, it's on rails. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, because it's a very nice way. Like whenever a new player comes in and asks me what's the best class to play, that's always one of the first suggestions I tell them. I tell them play Druid. I play Plant Druid or any of the transformation skills, because it's very easy to understand how to play the class. It's not like other classes where you have to decide, how do I build it? Do I use this one with combination with that one? Or like, what about this combination? I'm like, well, they're both good, but it's just how you want to play. Like, there's not as much like information overload with those classes. For somebody who's starting the game for the first time, where it's like it's very obvious what skills you're going to play and how you're going to play it. So at the end of the day, I see a pro and a con for it, but I do ultimately think that they're probably going to leave this direction eventually when they add more skills, because of the fact that it is Path of Exile. That's kind of just how the game works. And also, there are some bad skills. Rolling Magma and Wing Blast, I'd say nobody really plays those skills.
I use Wing Blast early on in the campaign.
Early on. That's the only time you're going to use it, because there's no better alternative.
Yeah. That's fair. Good, very good points, Rabbit.
I am, for some reason, I couldn't even tell you why, I haven't dabbled into shapeshifting at all. Like not a single minute so far I've spent on doing any shapeshifting. I couldn't even tell you why. I think still, to me, Wolf looks kind of cool. I think Wyvern has looked very, very clunky to me on basically everything. For the first time, I really thought something was really cool and special was when GGG showcased the bouncing basket, like toxic bouncing basketballs or whatever. I think that isn't that even Rolling Magma?
It is. They also did that build really dirty. They did the build real dirty in that showcase.
How so? Because that's interesting to me.
Because
that's funny, because when I saw that, I was like, is this is this them trying to make a build of the week that they're not nerfing? Because when I saw that video, I was like, oh, this is like a I didn't want to like I'm not trying to crap on the guy. I'm like, but the showcase of it was like, oh, this one looks like this is not this normal build of the week.
Ethical.
Like, explosion. Like this is like we're not gonna nerf this one.
They did it real dirty. Like they had nowhere near the same level of clear. Like if you watch the actual video, the level of clear was way better than what they showed in that video. And also the fact that they did like when they were bossing on it, it was like a T2 boss or something. It had like 500k HP. It had like nothing. Or like 200k HP on all the bosses. And it killed so slowly too. Like they literally put in like some entry level end game gear onto that character, and it's like here's the showcase. We're gonna fight some like T1 boss, and look, it's so cool. So if you went into an actual video, it was way stronger. It was like, wow, this is actually a pretty impressive build. So like, yeah, I mean, Rolling Magma isn't like a bad skill, I guess, but it's not fun to use a lot of times. Most people don't like to use it. Very clunky.
That's exactly all three shapeshifts though. The Wyvern is like it feels way better than you would expect. Just want to throw it out there.
That is basically like Miso put the perfect point for what I was basically alluding to. Just to me personally, nothing really spoke to me when it came to all the shapeshifting stuff. So I never really tried it. Like I said, Wolf was probably the one that looked the most interesting to me between the pouncing and the fast running and the cross slash and whatever that looked really cool. But like Bear doesn't really speak to me because I'm not a big melee fan, but like Walking Calamity and the Rampage stuff looks kind of cool. But I'm just too caster coded when I look at certain builds, and also, for example, like Shield Wall is an amazing skill. Shield Wall, all the Shield Wall builds are absolutely amazing. But I'm always just like looking at it, and just for me, and I'm not saying like it's a worse build than any of the others, because it's absolutely fucking amazing. It's just in the end, I'm just so caster coded that I'm like, oh yeah, I could do the same thing, but stand like 10 meters away from everything.
Yeah,
and that's just on me though. That's just on me. That doesn't mean that build is any worse than other stuff. It just hasn't spoken to me. It's probably one of the topics I have the least to say about, because I just haven't touched it. I haven't touched it yet. I just had like 2 or 3 questions for some reason today in my stream about like shapeshifting. Now I just went like, oh, I'm giving that one to chat. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable answering stuff that I haven't really dabbled into too much. So I think, and I said this, I think on Blaze's podcast today, I think overall the introduction of the Druid and the introduction of the Primal skills and the introduction of the Talisman skills is a very good thing for the future of Path of Exile 2, because it shows that they are having this ambition of having stuff apply to more than just one class or more than just one ascendancy, and just like holistically getting stuff into the game. And then afterwards you just say like, oh, this might work on this ascendancy. And I really hope that is something that is going to be carried into the future as well with the other coming classes, and maybe even future ascendancies or ascendancy reworks. So yeah. And we've talked about this before on the podcast as well. I think Druid was just an absolute home run for this league, and why a big reason why this league has been so well received, and why the player retention was so high, and why this league wasn't a total letdown, even though we didn't get what we were promised initially with the endgame rework.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Because like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I've been playing all the shapeshift builds now that I'm doing hardcore slow stuff. I'm just re-rolling between them, and I was most interested in wolf builds too. And wolf builds end up being my least favorite by so much. I freaking hate the wolf. The combo when you're under geared is miserable. Weren't you playing a wolf build on launch, Miso, and you hated it?
Well, I was playing some jank version.
Oh, you're playing Minion though.
I was playing some real jank version of it. It was like some hybrid minion, non-minion build. It was bad. It was bad. I mean, later on with gear, I think it would have been really good, because Gazzy actually, I think, ended up playing something similar, and he said it was like one of the best minion builds in the game for him. So later on, if you had gear, it was fine. But as a league starter, it was
Yeah, and I was doing it on hardcore self-found, so I was miserable on Wolf. Yeah, the shapeshifts are interesting. I think part of the reason why you haven't been appealed to them is because like anytime you look at a Wolf build, like again, it's what I said earlier, you're not being inspired to make your own version because you're almost gonna make the exact same version you saw. Like all the shapeshift builds are when you look at the trees for them, they all end up in the same spot for the most part. Like or yeah. So
Yeah, it's very on rails, as I mentioned earlier. But it's also funny that
good
Rabbit was talking about his caster thing because yeah, I'm the opposite. Remember what I mentioned earlier? This was my first caster that I played to this to the end game like this since 0.1. So I'm the opposite. I basically never play casters. It's not that I'm not interested in them. I think they're cool, but I end up just gravitating towards melee attack, like regular attacking skills more than casting spells.
Yeah, that's just a cool thing about Path of Exile, right? It's just like everyone has like their own little niches and own little like weird ways of doing stuff. Kaltorak is the Thorns guy. I'm the EDC guy.
I don't know.
Miso is
Kaltorak hasn't been playing
poverty
Thorns.
guy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the
Yeah,
Thorns
that's
guy
true.
anymore. I do life stacking now. Like
wait,
even
sorry.
in hardcore soul found right now, I'm like my goal right now is killing Arbiter on hardcore soul found with a life stacking build. Like I'm just that's where I'm at because I
Like
fucking
DM's
hated that
build?
energy shield. Not that level of life stacking. No. But I'm just avoiding evasion or energy shield. Like everyone's like, Cal, you have to give in. Just do an energy shield build, and you're gonna dominate the end game. I'm like, no, I'm going to keep banging my head into life stacking, and I'm gonna keep getting one shot, and I don't care. Life stacking is rough.
Mm-hmm.
One thing before we wrap up, this isn't on the show notes list, but you talked about, I caught briefly your Blaze discussion, and this is something I actually really like about this league. I am a big fan of the Arbiter kill giving you your rare tablets. I think that has been an awesome addition to this patch. It gives you the reason to kill Arbiter. Every single patch I rush for Arbiter. I will be rushing for Arbiter as fast as I can because there are a lot of people who are not rushing for Arbiter or just can't handle Arbiter early on because of their builds. And rare tablets are a commodity, and rare tablets are really good. I love them. I've also never been someone who has had a problem with farming citadels. Since 0.1, I've been farming citadels as my main gameplay loop. I've never once ever had bad RNG with citadels. I have just like I'm one of the people who just never understood the RNG of the bad citadels. So to me, the whole that whole system is great for me. Rabbit, you mentioned that like some people in your community and yourself were like torn on it. Let's just dive into that. Why is it that you dislike, or what your hesitations with the that system right now?
Oh, I'm personally not torn on it. I think the system that we have right now with the citadels for me has been working out great. I just said that I have a feeling that it is due to the fact that I'm just playing the game so much, because just like reflecting what people said in my chat, and I don't know if they're lying or not, or if it's like actual reflective of the truth, but the feedback I'm just getting a lot in my chat is either people find the citadels immediately, or there's people that said I'm like 200 maps in and I haven't really found citadels yet. And I don't know if that is just the best system that we have for something as crucial as the first Arbiter is now for the rare tablets. I personally never had a problem with it. For me, the whole strategy of going in a straight line as far as possible and then just going a little bit left and right once you get like a few screens away, I've always, especially with the new system, once you find one citadel, they're just everywhere, at least for me. But I was just reflecting basically feedback that I've gotten in my chat. I maybe, and I talked about this with Blaze earlier in another podcast. This is like the podcast day for me today. So I just like, we just floated the idea that maybe there is like a better system to get at least your first Arbiter try, because you still need to be able to kill the Arbiter, right? Which most people or some people are not really ready to do that early on into the league. So maybe you get like at least a first try that is not that RNG gated. I personally, just speaking about me, I don't have a problem with the current system at all. For me, it worked out just as you described it. It worked out perfectly. The other day, I was doing actual citadel hunting. It's been like 2 weeks ago now. It wasn't the other day. And I think I've gotten like 36 fragments in one stream. So it's like if you have one citadel and then I didn't even use Grand Project for that. I just went as fast as I could, and yeah, I think the system is for me at least it's working fine. But yeah, if I hear the feedback a lot in my chat, I'm echoing that a little bit.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing for me. I have never had a problem with it. In fact, most of the time I find my first citadel before I could even do it. But it's the same thing with Rabbit. There's enough people in my chat that say that they are going so many maps without finding one that I do think that there is a better way to do it. Again, I don't think the current system is anything offensive, but I also don't think there's a problem with potentially introducing some improvements to it. I think I watched the try video when he talked about this, and the two suggestions he suggested were making it so that when it comes time to do the citadels, you have a little arrow pointing you towards the closest citadels, or B, just having it completely guided and just be like, hey, here's the quest, and you just go talk to this NPC and they'll teleport you to the citadels, or they'll just go into citadels, or they'll give you the fragments or something like that. I think it's more of just like, having the NPC go do citadels. But in PoE 1, synthesis is very similar in that there is a separate NPC that you go to that will just spawn you synthesis maps when you're first getting into like that whole mechanic. And you talk to them, and then they let you go into the map, and then you progress through that NPC, and eventually, you're done with it and whatever, and it unlocks everything. So I think that I had this discussion with chat that I'm not opposed to the current system works, but it doesn't mean it couldn't be better. And I think that having like an NPC that you can talk to, that's just like, here's the first citadel I need to go to. I'm going to spawn the portals for you, and you just go in and you challenge it, and then you kill all 3, and then you kill Arbiter, and then now you get access to the rare tablets. Because it is like Rabbit said, it is such a core system in the game that it feels like it's kind of a shame that it's barred behind some sort of RNG, even though it's not like a huge RNG factor, because like we've all said, we have never struggled with it. I think there are people that do struggle with it, and you can technically get really unlucky to one where it takes you quite a while to find it. And I don't see that like there being inherently a bad thing to have at least your first Arbiter be a little bit more deterministic. I wouldn't mind it. I don't think it would hurt anybody's gameplay. I don't think the first Arbiter is just so insignificant, in my opinion, in terms of like the actual kill itself, that I don't see.
Well, I wouldn't say it's insignificant. There are a lot of people there are a lot of people who have not killed Arbiter ever.
Well, I mean,
Arbiter is not a normal thing for there's so many people I still say that I still haven't even killed Arbiter for the first time. He's too hard for me. So it's definitely not like an insignificant thing.
Well, what I mean is just like in the grand scheme of the end game, your first kill is just not very significant. Like it's a small part of it. There are people who, like you said, right, they never kill it, and it would be a significant part of their experience. But if we're taking a look at the end game as a big picture, right, it's a very small piece of that.
Yeah, I just don't think it should be made easier. Like, I think if this was
I'm not saying the kill should be easier. I'm not saying the kill should be easier.
Well, I don't even think getting the fragment should be easier. I think finding this, like, after your first 30 maps, if it revealed, like, because you're going to pick a direction, right? So it can't, like, auto flag which citadel it's going to reveal. So after, like, the first 30 maps you've cleared, your 30th map you've cleared, it pings the nearest citadels to you, and those 3 are instantly revealed. That's it. That's all they need to do, in my opinion. Yeah, they don't need to make them easier to kill those Citadels bosses. Well, I mean,
I never suggested that it should be easier. I'm just saying that it said it could maybe.
Oh, I thought you said something about getting the like. I thought I got confused when you said something about like the 3 portals to the bosses being able to easily access them or something.
No, so
I think they just need to like immediately reveal the Citadels whenever you've traveled a certain distance away.
It would be essentially be kind of the same thing where you talk to NPC and then it would spawn portals to the Citadel. You still have to do the Citadel. You still have to kill them, but it would spawn your first 3 Citadels. It would just be like talk to the NPC, and then it would basically teleport.
It just take you to an instance, like an instance Citadel. That's not a part.
Yeah, exactly. It's not on the map. It's just an instance Citadel that every single character like would go through for the first time.
Or the first Citadel is just a beam in the fog of war. So at least
the same thing as like the
problem I have with that is like you have to like. you have to incentivize the player leaving a direction, because if like the moment you get in the end game, it reveals a citadel, you're going to that citadel, right? And then you can't have it reveal a citadel every direction, because that's like kind of cheese, right? So you would have to have the player go 30 maps, and then it pings whichever the citadel closest is to do, and easy peasy.
Yeah,
but I also don't hate what Miso just said. Like, if like at some point you talk to Alva and she was like, "Oh, you've reached level 8, you've gotten all of the corruption done.
Yeah, exactly.
Your corruption's done, and now I can teleport you to a corrupted version. We've gone back in time and found a corrupted version of Doriani. Here's how you get your first Arbiter fragment. And that doesn't even guarantee you to kill Arbiter. It just gives you a set of fragments to attempt them. I don't hate it.
Yep. Just have it more Just have it more as a progression rather than being gated behind some sort of RNG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once I found citadels, though, I find them everywhere, right? Like, once you find that first set,
they're everywhere. Yeah,
everywhere.
I have so many citadels sitting on my map right now that I just like haven't done.
Same.
Like, I'm just like, there's so many of these. I'd literally be spending all stream doing citadels if I just did every citadel I ran into.
Yeah, because I see people say like they found one set but they can't find more. But to me, like, I find more citadels. I'm someone that wants to citadel farm, and I find more than I want to do. But I don't know if that's just a good luck streamer client type thing or something.
I think
what were you saying, Rabbit? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I said everything.
Yeah,
just like have it more as a progression than RNG.
I think something that a lot of people don't realize is that you need to, I think, take the quest or like do the first quest that tells you like, hey, go find the citadels. I think that was like a thing. Like I don't remember the quest itself, but apparently there's a quest.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so that's how
apparently there's a quest.
I've played so much, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it just becomes so second nature to us because we've done it so many times. But people have said that there's a quest that you need to take that starts the Arbiter chain. So if you don't take that quest, you'll never find the Citadel. They don't start appearing until you take that quest.
Gotcha. Interesting. Well, I'm glad we're all on the same page. Like, I really like the rare tablets. I think it was a much needed change. One thing that Blaze and Rabbit talked about on the podcast was that before you didn't like in Solo Self-Founder in any mode, you didn't have to actually kill Arbiter. There was no incentive to kill it unless you wanted to the challenge of it or get a chance at the Prism of Belief. But like, I guess it gives you the 2 Atlas passive points, but like, you know, a lot of people are fine playing without those. This is like a good reward that you get for doing a good challenge, and we need more stuff like that. We get a lot of system unlocks in the campaign, like you get the reforge benches, the salvage bins and stuff, but we don't really get anything like that unlocked from endgame except for this. So I think it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called the Pinnacle of Flame Quest, according to chat.
Pinnacle of Flame Quest, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's wrap up there. Fun episode, guys. I love when we can just riff about the game. It's just, this game is just too much fun. Let's go into build of the week. Path of Diablo 2. Sorry, I had to make sure it got mentioned. So this is a build from Struth. I believe Struth was the very first person that got build of the week for PoE 2. He did a crossbow build. This is on his, I guess he started a second channel for builds. He is using the double
build of the week
vision,
or like a feature build from Path of Exile.
Yeah, he was the very first build of the week from GGG. He did a featured build. Yeah, featured build from them. And he's back with another crossbow build. He's using the Dryad double vision crossbow. This thing sucks. It is one of those uniques that it's a low level unique. It does scale to level 90, but the only thing that scales to 90 on it is the skill level on it. The base damage, it stays the same. So it's, when I saw it, I was like, oh man, this is another thing that's like gonna suck to build around. But he found a way to do it, and he does it in a really cool way. It generates these charges when you stun with the skill, but he's using pin 2 to prevent stun buildup from the explosion, to where he's guaranteeing stun buildup from armor piercing rounds. So the explosions you're seeing are the surges from the crossbow. And they only proc when you stun something. So he's using pin 2 to never stun with the explosions, which will like eat a lot of the stun charges. It's made a really cool engine. It's not the best clear. It's not the best DPS because again, it is a low level crossbow. Having a level 90 version of it is important because it gives you level 90 version of the skill. But you're still using a low base crossbow as your main damage. So, but this is the stuff I love from Path of Exile too. Like these are like, you know, those uniques that's like, man, I wish I could make something around this, but I don't want to waste my time with it. And then you get to see someone else waste their time with it. So it's cool. It's a cool little interaction. I don't know if you guys have ever thought about making a build with this, but I had a while ago.
To be honest, you know, I don't even know what the double dyad crossbow does. So can you explain for the audio listeners what when you talk about these charges or whatever? I have no clue what you're saying. You're speaking foreign language.
So when the crossbow gives you the ability Gemini Surge, and you get a charge when you stun a target. And those are, it just gives you a random element. That's what you see at the top, these little things that appear and they're all exploding and randomly and stuff. You just get one of these little explosions when you stun a target. And the problem that you run into when you initially use it is the explosions will eat some of the stuns. They'll eat the stuns and then that'll like, you know, not get the ones you want to. So he uses pin 2 in it to make it immune to the explosion, not cause stun. So where he's guaranteeing armor piercing rounds to just get stuns. But yeah, it's just the effect is literally the explosion you're seeing whenever you get a charge, whenever you stun a target, yeah, that's all the damage is coming from. Like he's using armor piercing rounds as the engine for the explosions. But literally what the crossbow skill does is these explosions you're seeing.
Got it. And is it a passive thing that happens, the explosions?
Yes, they just happen. They just trigger.
Yeah, every time you stun.
Well, you get them when they stun, and then they trigger when you attack. They apply to your next attack. So you're farming them with the stuns, and then it's
it's cool. It looks really
cool. I don't think like obviously it's like, you know, it's not going a million miles per hour. This is your normal off meta build, right? Like this is what people think when you think of off meta, right? But it's so cool to use. I'm probably misexplaining it bad too because it's a weird interaction. But Struth did great with it. It's a build he released super late into the league. He posted this like 2 days ago. And yeah, I guess he's starting a new build channel because this is on his second channel called Struth Builds. So shout out to him. But yeah, it's an interesting, interesting. It's just like it brings back the argument of like a lot of unique sucking because they don't scale to endgame well. But he found a way kind of with this one.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, definitely. You can. I mean, if it was a end game unique, I'm sure this would be blasting.
Oh yeah, no, it scaled to level 90. Like it's doing. I think it's a level 18 unique or something. So its damage on it is like 10 to 22. Like it's dog shit. It is. So the fact that he's doing this well with the skill on it shows, you know, what the interaction is supposed to be, I guess. But yeah, he did. It's cool. Well done, man.
Awesome. All right, Rabbit.
Yeah, my build is the Infinite Warcries Warbringer build, and someone suggested that one to me in chat, and I just got instantly hooked. And to anyone watching this now, in like the VOD or in the stream or whatever, I advise you to just watch the video as well, because if you're now watching the video just on screen without sound, you might think like, oh, okay, what is this? This is definitely one of the craziest ways to showcase a build I've ever seen before, because he made like an AI song for the build, where the AI song is explaining the build and explaining like the interactions and everything. And he has like a very cool setup actually showing the build on screen. That is like the surface level of that build. And it's an Infinite Warcries like kind of character. And if you've played Diablo 2 before, you might like this build if you played a build in Diablo 2 that was called the Singer Barbarian. In Diablo 2, there was a very cool build that was basically that, where the Barbarian is just doing Warcries all the time, and it was called the Singer Barbarian. Very, very cool build in Diablo 2. But also, like under the hood of having like an amazing presentation in the video with like a Viking-style AI song explaining the build, this build is incredibly min-maxed. It is actually insane. Once I got deeper into the video and like looking past all the AI song stuff and like showcasing the build, it is using an Adorn setup with like incredible min-maxing. It is using all the best support gem setups. This is not going to be a cheap build, by the way. This is like min-max to the absolute max level. Everything he thought of, everything is just min-max to the absolute best possibilities, like into like Maligoros with increased break armor, enchantment, and everything. And he is actually, by the way, he's using a two-handed staff on this. This build is using a two-handed Chaos Staff, actually. I think the only reason, and maybe if he's in the comments at some point or something, can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's just due to the fact that the staff provides the build with the 3 gain damage extra damage prefixes. So I don't think he cares too much about the Chaos Spell skills, because I think the only Chaos Spell skill I watched him use was the Temporal Chains to slow down the bosses and everything. Just min-maxed to the absolute most possible min-max stage, and that is something that I always really like. He's also using like an Astromantis with +1 all skill levels, and it is insane. It is super min-maxed. I always love that. It is not a cheap build. It's it is about as min-maxed as you can go. I'm saying min-maxed a lot. That is that build. And do yourself a favorite and just watch the video. I'm not a big fan of like the usage of AI ever, but in this case, he gets the pass.
Yeah, it's really cool. I saw it on the day that it was released too, and also just the editing is like amazing. Like he's just absolutely amazingly created video, like edited, presented, everything, and the build is also sick.
Yeah.
100% recommend.
I'm not sure what the +6 chaos skills is for.
Probably temp chains.
I think it's just an extra.
That's the only thing I'm seeing here. Like, is he wanting just a super juice temp chains? Because that's the only thing I'm seeing here. Unless there's like an interaction I don't know with like consecrate or something.
I mean, if he's using a staff, he probably can't use most things anyways on the staff. So.
Yeah, but I guess it would just be to just use it has to be for temp chains.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought about doing a build on Disciple of Rashta with using the staff plus focus, just specifically because you can get a staff with with 3 sources of gain over 50%. It's just like so much damage.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. Cool build. Definitely recommend watching it. For me, I am showcasing Requip Gaming's spear build. He uses Explosive Spear and for a single target, and he uses Glacial Lance for AoE clear. And I just thought it's really cool because it really kind of changes the way that I think about Glacial Lance. Of course, my Glacial Lance builds are not like this at all, because he doesn't really even care about frenzy charges. His Glacial Lances are raw, unfiltered, 0 frenzy charge Glacial Lances.
Acceleration Stride, Rabbit, look away.
But it's definitely. I think it's really cool. Changes the way that I think about how you do Glacial Lance at the end of the day. And also, I don't think a lot of builds use Explosive Spear for anything for the most part. It's actually really, really strong when you do end up using it and empowering it with frenzy charges. So yeah, not my preferred way of building Glacial Lance, because I think it looks way prettier with the charges, but it proves that you don't need it and you can still absolutely blast.
Wait, it's also a Gloom Shrine at the same time.
Rabbit, look away! Rabbit, look away!
Wait, sorry, Miso.
Rabbit, look away!
He's not Gloom Shrine. It's a Palm of the Dreamer. It's a Palm of the Dreamer.
Okay. Thank God.
Oh,
Thank God. I was about to lose my mind. But I would like to see some footage without the Acceleration Shrine, though.
I don't know what I was talking about.
This is one clip. But yeah, it's still a cool build.
Yeah.
Let's see. Does he show any? Oh, this is non non-acceleration shrine footage here.
Yeah, there we go. That's good. Okay, I was about to lose it because I thought he was also using. Also, he decided to clip the part where it's an acceleration shrine and a gloom shrine. No, I mean without acceleration shrine, it still looks amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. It could have showed this from the start. Who's this? Who's the name? What's the name?
It's Requip Gaming. We've
Requip Gaming.
Cool.
You could have just shown that from the start. No, cool
Travis
build.
is a
Very
hater.
cool build.
Travis is a hater at the end of the day.
I'm
He
kidding. I'm
hates
always
shrines. He never clicks shrines. He's a shrine.
I love
gamer.
shrines. I love shrines. By the way, I don't know if we had this discussion. I am going full in. I think shrines on the Atlas passive tree is like the way to go.
Shrines.
I go
every
fully
I go
into
shrines every league.
Shrines is amazing.
Every league.
It doesn't give you more drops, but it
it's
feels
more maps
so
per
good.
hour. It's more maps per hour.
True.
You're getting more damage or you're getting more speed. And it's just more maps per hour. Like, it's so good.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's the same in the PoE 1 too. You in PoE 1, people also go shrines.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
This is a cool build, though.
Yep, really makes you.
I've never played
about...
Great Glacial Lance.
It's fun. It's really good. I mean, I would say it's probably one of my favorite skills in the entire game because it just looks really pretty when you use it. I mean, ice skills in general are really nice to look at.
Yes.
I really want to do something like I look at this build from I forget who the guy that we just showcased with the Warbringer build, but like I really want to just commit to a build for like because you did your level 100 grind, Rabbit. We need to talk about that on one of our episodes soon, but like I just haven't had that urge to just completely giga min max a character, and I hope in 0.5 we get I have that drive to just want to one character for so long. I would love to just put
honestly,
3 mirrors and
this
3 weeks into a character.
Honestly, this league, the only way for me to do actually the level 100 grind was just Temple. I don't really see a point other than being able to do it in Temple. It was just so. I think I did level 99, 20% to 100 in like one stream, just because I had a 70 room Temple, and I think I got like 10% every Temple, and
Yeah, Temples would be let's just say a lot weaker next league.
Yep.
Everyone will be delving, so that's how it should be anyways. I don't know if we're actually getting delve. I'm still coping out, but
tinfoil hat over here, hoping and praying. Al Torak has a delve shrine in his closet, and he's praying to it every night with a picture of Jonathan next to it.
One day. I hope we get 0.5 news before long, but I assume it won't be until after PoE 1 gets their league launch. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Just a reminder that next week we have Jazarus on. The week after that, we have Arrow. And then the week after that, we have Lex D. So we've got our next 3 podcasts planned. There's Mr. Jonathan himself. Praise be to Mr. Rogers.
Yes, indeed.
And yeah, if you missed the news last week, the 3 of us will be going to ExileCon. So if you end up being at the event, come make sure you say hi to us. But
say hi.
Yeah, let's get our outro going. Rabbit, go ahead and get your shout outs.
Hello, it's me. I will be at ExileCon. I'm very excited. That's it. I think it's in New Zealand, right? I'm about to be. I'm about to take a 30-hour plane ride. I'm excited. You can also watch me on Twitch, by the way, at twitch.tv/dadrabbit. That's also what you can do. Also, if you're using an acceleration shrine in your build showcase, you should go to prison.
Oh, he's not gonna let up about that.
I'm very tired right now. I'm sorry. I'm very tired.
It's all good. All right. Miselek Shiru, not tired today because I actually got a good night's sleep because I skipped streaming last night. But yes, every other night though, twitch.tv/Miselek Shiru. Stream every single night. And if you're watching this VOD, you're probably on YouTube. youtube.com/Miselek Shiru. Come watch the videos, hang out. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to continue to do Gia's Ember Fusillade for probably a week or two. And then, or maybe still do some hardcore solo self-found at some point too. We'll see. But it's going to be a good time. Come hang out.
Yep, man. You know, it's funny for me because anytime I want to make a video about PoE 2, I just put it on the show notes for this podcast. So I feel like I let my YouTube followers down by never making videos about this game. So like, you can go follow me there, but anytime I want to talk about PoE 2, I'm just like, well, I'm gonna talk about it on the podcast. So let's do it there. So if you want to follow me on YouTube, I have a couple devlogs coming out this week for my indie game studio. So if you're interested in game development and want to follow along with the games I'm making, or just like learning about that culture, follow my channel there. Next week we'll be back again with another episode of the podcast. I believe is exactly I think it's on Wednesday. I can't remember, but yeah, we'll see you next week with Jazzarus, and yeah, bye guys.
It's on Friday. It's on Friday, right? Jazzarus
it's on
Friday, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, I think it's on Friday, the 11th.
There's an episode with Jazzarus next week, so see you guys then. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.